these erosions of our institutions and people having very skeptical, if not very negative views of our institutions. And the media played a deplorable role during this entire presidency.
Look, when I was in college, in the mid 80s, giving away my age here, early 80s actually, we were told to subscribe to the Washington Post and New York Times and use them as primary sources for our government papers. That's the esteem that these two institutions were held in. We could watch Dan Rather, we could watch Walter Cronkite, and feel comfortable that we were being told fact-based truth, void of substantial spin. That illusion went away when I started working for the United Nations. I would attend a meeting at the Security Council as a principal, meaning they're talking about me, things I've done, I'm given the brief. Then I would read about it, the same meeting, in the New York Times the next day, realizing that an American representative snuck out and told a completely different story. The New York Times ran with it. At that point in time, I realized that these institutions are about headline grabbing, about gaining readership, and they do that by exploiting their connection with the establishment. I saw this working for NBC News and their close relationship with the White House. The media has never been about telling the truth. The media has always been about sustaining its own relevance, using sources for their own benefit. And this has become worse in the 24-hour news cycle, where it's no longer about news, it's about entertainment. It's about spinning events in a manner which entertains an audience sufficient so that they tune in on a daily basis. Donald Trump was a boom for the media. The Trump show was something the media exploited to the mutual benefit of the media and Donald Trump. If you don't think Trump benefited from Russiagate, you're not paying attention to what's going on, because he was able to play off of this narrative to create the persona of a resistor, of the man who is taking on the machine, etc. He fed off of this. Media is disgusting in the United States. The media today now is doing the same thing. Look, I don't know the truth of the precise narrative of events on January. I only know what I watched on TV. I only know what I saw. I only know that Congress was convened to carry out a task mandated by the 12th Amendment of the Constitution that I took an oath to uphold and defend with my life. And I know that a crowd rushed the Capitol, whether it was before Donald Trump finished speaking or after, it doesn't matter. Their purpose was disrupt a constitutionally mandated task of government. That is an insurrection. And if it was promoted by the president or everybody else, that is sedition. That is the legacy of Donald Trump. Maybe history will show through some investigation that he is blameless. And this is why I'm sort of against this rush to impeach, because this isn't a trial. This isn't about learning the truth. This isn't about establishing the fact. This is about destroying a man politically so that once his tenure as president ends, he will have no path back to political leadership. That's what this is about. Maybe he deserves that outcome. But as somebody who believes in the Constitution, I believe in due process. And before we condemn this man, before we, sentence him to a life void of politics, we might want to let due process play out. He seems guilty in my mind, but that doesn't count.
Well, before the law, okay? Right? One of the things that, when we look, insurrection and all this kind of language here, what did we see all summer long, all across American cities, okay? Mostly peaceful protesting, okay? That was disgusting to watch, and the media gave it a free pass. They actually justified it. Looting, well, that's a form of reparations, okay? This is just ridiculous. You have the rule of law or you don't have the rule of law. The people that rioted in the Capitol should be held accountable. They should be put on trial and they should go to prison, okay? And I hope they're named and shamed. But I wish the people that did all the looting and the arson, whoever had that Wendy's franchise, I bet they would like to know who burned down their franchise and have those people held accountable. It's about accountability, okay, and agency. Go ahead, Mark.
I'll take you back before Antifa and Black Lives Matter burned down dozens of American cities in 2020. I'll take you back to late 2019 when the nomination of Justice Brett Kavanaugh went before the Senate. And not only did Democrats jump up and start lying about them, they dug up this mentally ill woman with more holes in her story than Swiss cheese. to try to destroy a perfectly good man who's become a perfectly good Supreme Court justice. And not only that, Democrats called for action and they called for people to storm Congress, and Democrats, or presumably Democrats, but left-wing terrorists took over the Hart Senate office building. Senators were locked in their offices. They couldn't come out because security had lost control of the crowd. And they were trying to disrupt a constitutional process of confirming a Supreme Court justice. The media said nothing about insurrection. They said nothing about an attack on democracy. By the way, we're in a republic, not a democracy, so I kind of cringe when I hear the word democracy. But yeah, all that preceded the whole year of COVID and then the horrible events as everybody watched what happened to George Floyd. But then, of course, there's certain people, poverty pimps, trying to fundraise off of it and turn it into something it wasn't, and ended up burning American cities, burning businesses to the ground, killing cops as Democrats cheered them on, as Kamala Harris, who wants to be the next vice president of the United States, started a fund to bail out people who were attacking police and burning down businesses and private property. And people said, oh, well, property can be replaced, but lives can't. Well, that might be true, but tell it to the people that own the property and couldn't get insurance to be made whole again.
I want to have enough time for Laura to respond because we're right out of time.